Most people pour syrup over pancakes or waffles without thinking twice, believing it's just a sweet topping that makes breakfast enjoyable. But the truth behind most commercial syrup brands is alarming. What looks harmless on the surface is often a mix of processed chemicals, high-fructose corn syrup, artificial flavors, and synthetic coloring that can silently harm your health over time. When you pick up a bottle of syrup from the store, chances are it's not made from real maple sap but from a base of corn syrup, one of the most damaging ingredients in the modern diet. High-fructose corn syrup, or AFCS, is not a natural sugar, it's an industrial sweetener that manipulates your body's natural hunger and energy signals. It spikes your blood sugar rapidly, forcing your pancreas to release large amounts of insulin, and over time this roller coaster of sugar highs and crashes can lead to insulin resistance, weight gain, even type 2 diabetes. What makes it worse is that these artificial syrups are designed to be addictive, creating that instant satisfaction while keeping you craving more. The combination of HFCS with chemical preservatives like sodium benzoate, caramel coloring, flavor enhancers doesn't just affect your metabolism. It affects your brain and energy levels too. After consuming these artificial syrups, your body experiences a temporary rush of dopamine and sugar-fueled energy, followed by a sharp crash that leaves you tired, irritable, and mentally foggy. These brands don't just sell sweetness, they sell dependency. Every spoonful trains your taste buds to crave more intense, artificial sweetness, making natural foods taste dull in comparison. This cycle is exactly what food manufacturers want. They want you hooked, reaching for that same bottle every morning without questioning what's inside. What's often hidden on the back of the label is the list of artificial colors and flavors. Caramel coloring, for instance, may sound harmless, but some forms of it are produced using ammonia compounds, which can create harmful byproducts during manufacturing. Artificial flavors are chemical blends made in laboratories to mimic the taste of maple syrup without actually using any real maple extract. These compounds offer no nutritional value and are known to cause inflammation in the body when consumed regularly. Over time, chronic inflammation can contribute to conditions such as fatigue, headaches, and even joint pain. It's not the sweetness that's the problem. It's the deception. You think you're choosing something simple and comforting, but you're actually consuming a cocktail of industrial ingredients created for profit, not nourishment. Beyond individual health, the production of high-fructose corn syrup itself has massive environmental consequences. Corn used for HFCS is often genetically modified and heavily sprayed with pesticides, which harm soil health and pollute water systems. So, when you choose these artificial syrups, you're not only compromising your own body, you're also supporting an unsustainable system that damages the environment. Every bottle of syrup made from processed corn syrup represents another step away from natural, mindful living. This is why awareness matters. Reading the label isn't just a small act, it's an act of self-respect and awareness. Your body was never designed to process this level of refined sugar and chemicals. The more you rely on these products, the more they interfere with your metabolism, appetite control, and even hormone regulation. Many people who struggle with constant fatigue, sugar cravings, and mood swings don't realize that something as small as their morning syrup could be part of the problem. The good news is that the body is incredibly resilient. Once you remove these artificial ingredients and replace them with real, nutrient-dense foods, your system begins to reset. Your taste buds start to recognize true sweetness again, your energy levels stabilize, and your body starts to heal from years of chemical overload. The illusion that commercial syrup is just sweetness in a bottle is one of the biggest marketing lies of modern food culture. The bright labels, comforting names, and family-oriented branding are designed to trigger nostalgia and emotional trust. They want you to feel like you're buying tradition when you're actually buying synthetic sugar water. Companies use imagery of maple trees, wooden cabins, golden syrup to convince you that what's inside is natural, but in reality, most of it has never seen a single maple leaf. This is where the real danger lies, not just in the ingredients but in the mindset of blind consumption. When you stop questioning what you eat, you give away your power. Every spoonful of syrup from those commercial brands takes you further from balance and vitality. It's not just about calories or sugar. It's about how these processed compounds alter your internal chemistry. They make your body work harder to maintain stability, And over time, that constant internal battle leaves you drained. True nourishment should give energy, not take it away. Once you realize that the majority of syrup brands on store shelves are designed for shelf life, not health, you begin to see through the illusion. You begin to understand that what you put on your plate in the morning sets the tone for your entire day. Your choices, no matter how small, carry the power to either weaken or strengthen you. Famous syrup brands like Aunt Jemima, Mrs. Butterworth's Log Cabin, and Hungry Jack have become household names because they've mastered the art of emotional marketing. They've built their reputation on images of warmth, family breakfasts, and tradition, but what's hidden inside those bottles tells a very different story. The packaging may look familiar and comforting, but behind the label lies a blend of chemicals, refined sugars, and preservatives designed to mimic real maple syrup at a fraction of the cost. These syrups are not the wholesome, home-style products they claim to be. They're industrial mixtures created to please your taste buds, while quietly damaging your body from the inside out. They promise nostalgia, but they deliver artificial sweetness and long-term health risks. The idea that these brands represent comfort and family is powerful marketing, but comfort shouldn't come at the expense of your well-being. Inside these bottles, you'll find high-fructose corn syrup as the main ingredient. This synthetic sweetener is cheaper to produce than real maple syrup, and it's used because it's addictive. When consumed, floods your bloodstream with sugar faster than your body can handle, causing sharp insulin spikes that leave you craving more. Over time, this constant cycle of sugar highs and crashes leads to fatigue, weight gain, insulin resistance, and even early signs of metabolic disease. What makes it worse is that the taste has been engineered to feel satisfying and familiar, so you keep coming back to it without realizing what it's doing to your system. It's not just about sweetness, it's about control. These companies know how to manipulate your palate, making it harder for you to appreciate natural flavors or moderate your sugar intake. In addition to the excessive sugar, these syrups often contain preservatives like sodium benzoate and artificial coloring agents such as caramel color. These ingredients have no nutritional value, they exist purely to make the product last longer and look appealing. Caramel coloring, for instance, gives syrup its deep amber hue, but it's often made using ammonia-based compounds that can produce potentially harmful byproducts. Artificial flavors are another hidden danger. They're synthetic chemicals designed to taste like maple but contain no actual maple extract. The problem isn't just what's in them, it's what's missing. There are no antioxidants, minerals, or beneficial nutrients in these syrups. They're empty calories that give you an illusion of energy while slowly depleting your vitality. Even the brands that market themselves as maple-flavored use clever labeling to mislead consumers. That small word, flavored, is the key giveaway that it's not pure maple syrup. It's a marketing loophole that allows companies to create imitation products without technically lying. Most people never notice it because the bottle looks so familiar and the branding evokes a sense of trust. But the reality is that these brands rely on chemicals and deception, not nature and authenticity. The syrup industry, much like the processed food industry as a whole, thrives on consumer ignorance. They count on you not reading the fine print. They count on your nostalgia and your busy lifestyle, knowing you'll grab the bottle you recognize instead of questioning what's inside. What's even more concerning is how these artificial syrups can alter your body's natural relationship with food. The overconsumption of processed sugar can dull your sensitivity to sweetness, meaning natural foods like fruit or pure maple syrup start to taste bland. This creates a dangerous cycle where your body constantly seeks out stronger and more artificial sources of sugar. Over time, this can affect not only your physical health, but also your mental well-being. Studies have shown that excessive sugar intake can increase anxiety, disrupt mood stability, and even impact cognitive performance. So while you think you're enjoying a harmless breakfast treat, your body is struggling to process a chemical overload that leaves you feeling drained and dependent on more sweetness to get through the day. These brands have mastered the illusion of authenticity. The packaging often features rustic cabins, syrup dripping from trees, wholesome family imagery, all symbols meant to trick your mind into associating the product with purity and nature. But what's inside is far from natural. It's a lab-engineered formula built for mass production, not human nourishment. The reason these products are so successful isn't because they taste better than real maple syrup. It's because they're cheaper, more addictive, and heavily promoted. Advertising has turned them into symbols of comfort, when in reality, they're symbols of a food system that values profit over health. Every spoonful represents clever manipulation disguised as tradition. When you pour these syrups over your pancakes, you're not just feeding your body sugar, you're feeding a system that thrives on processed food addiction. These companies have spent decades perfecting the balance of sweetness, thickness, and aroma to keep you hooked. They've studied how texture and scent influence cravings, and they use that knowledge to create a product that feels satisfying even though it lacks any real nutritional value. It's not food in the traditional sense, it's a product of chemistry and psychology. The more you consume it, the harder it becomes to return to real, simple ingredients. Your body starts to confuse artificial pleasure with nourishment, leaving you constantly chasing that next sweet fix. This is why awareness is so important. The moment you recognize that these syrup brands are selling comfort through chemical illusion, you begin to reclaim your power as a consumer. You realize that the brands you grew up trusting might not have your health in mind at all. What they truly want is loyalty built on habit. But once you break that habit, you open the door to real flavor, real energy, and real health. The fake sweetness loses its grip on you, and you begin to see how marketing has shaped your choices for years. The truth is simple. What's familiar isn't always what's best. Those famous syrup bottles may look innocent on your breakfast table, but the ingredients inside tell a much darker story, one of profit, driven production, chemical dependency, and the slow erosion of natural health. Real maple syrup isn't just a delicious natural sweetener, it's one of nature's purest gifts that carries a unique balance of sweetness, minerals, antioxidants your body actually recognizes and can process. Unlike the artificial, sugar-heavy syrups lining supermarket shelves, pure maple syrup comes straight from the sap of maple trees. It's filtered and boiled down to perfection without the need for chemicals, artificial coloring, synthetic additives. This simplicity gives it something processed syrups can never replicate: nutritional depth and natural energy that fuels your body instead of draining it. When you taste real maple syrup, you're not just tasting sweetness, you're tasting the essence of the tree, the minerals drawn up from the soil, purity of nature's own design. One of the most overlooked benefits of pure maple syrup is its nutritional profile. It contains minerals like manganese, zinc, calcium, and potassium, elements your body needs for energy production, bone health, and immune system support. Manganese, for example, plays a key role in metabolism and antioxidant defense, while zinc helps regulate hormones and supports cellular repair. When you consume artificial syrups filled with high-fructose corn syrup and additives, you get empty calories that strain your metabolism. But when you consume real maple syrup in moderation, you're getting natural compounds that help your body function smoothly. The difference is that one form of sweetness supports you, and the other depletes you. Pure maple syrup also contains polyphenols, which are natural antioxidants that help fight oxidative stress and inflammation. These compounds protect your cells from damage caused by free radicals, which are unstable molecules linked to aging, fatigue, and disease. When you include natural antioxidants like those found in maple syrup, you're giving your body tools to repair and recover. This is why natural sweeteners often leave you feeling satisfied rather than sluggish. They work with your system, not against it. The same amount of sweetness that artificial syrups use to manipulate your senses, pure maple syrup delivers with nourishment. It's the difference between momentary pleasure and sustainable vitality. There's also something psychologically grounding about consuming real food in its natural form. The act of choosing pure maple syrup over processed imitation is symbolic. It's an act of alignment between your choices and your values. It represents awareness, self-respect, and the willingness to honor your body with authenticity. When you choose something that's pure, you're saying yes to simplicity, to nature, to a slower and more conscious way of living. In a world obsessed with convenience and shortcuts, that kind of choice has power. Real maple syrup reminds us that nature doesn't need improvement. It doesn't need enhancement or artificial engineering. What it provides is already perfect in its essence. The way pure maple syrup interacts with your body is also fundamentally different. Because it has a lower glycemic index than refined sugar, it releases energy more steadily, preventing the crashes associated with high-fructose corn syrup or refined sweeteners. This means you stay energized for longer, without the roller coaster effect that artificial syrups create. For those who are mindful about their energy levels and mood throughout the day, this difference can be transformative. It's not just about avoiding harm, it's about enhancing the way your body performs naturally. You're no longer fighting against your biology, you're harmonizing with it. The process of making real maple syrup itself is a lesson in patience and respect for nature. It takes around 40 gallons of maple sap to produce just 1 gallon of syrup. This slow transformation from sap to syrup symbolizes a deeper truth, that good things take time, care, and intention. There are no shortcuts in nature's process, and there shouldn't be in ours either. When we consume foods made with time, tradition, and authenticity, we absorb that same energy. We begin to understand the value of patience and quality in our own lives. Artificial syrups are the opposite. They're mass-produced, stripped of life, designed for speed and profit. The difference is not just in the taste but in the energy they carry. One is alive, the other is empty. What's fascinating is that even in small amounts, real maple syrup can enhance your health when used mindfully. It's rich in plant-based compounds that can support digestion, balance your microbiome, and help your body process sugar more efficiently. When combined with a whole food diet, it can even support metabolic balance, reducing sugar cravings and helping you transition away from processed sweets. Nature provides sweetness with wisdom, never in excess, always in balance. Artificial syrup, on the other hand, was created without wisdom, without respect for the body's design, and without any sense of moderation. That's why it always leaves you craving more, while real maple syrup leaves you satisfied with less. The deeper truth behind choosing real maple syrup is not only about health but about integrity. It's about returning to a connection with what you eat and understanding that food is more than flavor. It's communication between you and the natural world. When you choose something pure, you send a message to your body that it can trust what it's receiving. You remind yourself that nourishment should never be a compromise. Every drop of pure maple syrup is a reminder that nature knows balance. When you align your habits with that truth, your body responds with strength, clarity, and harmony. In the end, the sweetness of real maple syrup is not just a taste, it's a reflection of life lived consciously, grounded in authenticity, fueled by nature's original design. Choosing authentic syrup brands like Coombs Family Farms and Crown Maple Organic is more than just a healthier decision. It's a statement of integrity, mindfulness, and respect for what you put into your body. These brands represent a return to authenticity in a world where most foods have been stripped of their natural essence. When you open a bottle of real maple syrup from trusted sources like these, you're not just tasting sweetness, you're tasting the effort, purity, care that went into creating it. Each drop reflects the connection between the earth, the tree, and human craftsmanship, a bond that modern, artificial brands have completely lost. Coombs Family Farms and Crown Maple stand apart because they preserve that connection. They don't rush nature's process or dilute its value with artificial ingredients. They let nature speak through flavor, texture, and aroma, creating a product that fuels both body and spirit. These syrups are made with intention. Coombs Family Farms, for instance, has been tapping maple trees for generations, using sustainable methods that honor the land rather than exploit it. Every step, from collecting the sap to boiling it down into syrup, is done with respect for the environment. There are no pesticides, no synthetic chemicals, no shortcuts. The purity of their syrup reflects the purity of their philosophy. Crown Maple Organic follows the same principle, focusing on clean, organic production that values quality over quantity. Their syrup is filtered to perfection, maintaining its rich amber color and complex flavor while staying true to its natural origins. This authenticity doesn't just result in better taste, it results in better energy for your body. Real syrup nourishes while artificial syrup numbs. The difference between these authentic brands and the commercial ones goes beyond ingredients. It's about vibration, about how food feels when you consume it. Artificial syrups are lifeless, they've been overprocessed and chemically engineered to trick your senses. But real maple syrup still carries the life force of the tree. It's alive with minerals, antioxidants, and the subtle energy of nature. When you consume it, you're aligning your body with that vitality. It's not just a matter of nutrition, it's a matter of harmony. The more real food you consume, the more balanced and focused you feel, because your body is receiving energy it knows how to use. Authentic syrup brands remind us that true nourishment doesn't come from factories. It comes from the earth. By choosing pure, organic syrup, you're also supporting ethical production and environmental preservation. These companies take responsibility for their impact on the planet. They understand that nature isn't a resource to exploit but a relationship to maintain. Every bottle of real maple syrup represents a choice to support sustainability, fair labor, and ecological balance. You're not just buying a product, you're voting with your money for a cleaner food system. This kind of conscious consumption is powerful. It's how collective change begins, through millions of small, mindful decisions made by individuals who care about the future of their health and the planet. Authentic syrup brands also stand as a symbol of self-respect. When you feed your body real high-quality ingredients, you're telling yourself that you deserve the best. You're rejecting the empty promises of processed convenience foods and choosing something real. That small act of discernment builds a deeper sense of self-worth. It's not just about syrup, it's about the mindset that comes with valuing authenticity over imitation. In a world that constantly pushes shortcuts, choosing purity becomes an act of quiet rebellion. You stop settling for what's easy and start demanding what's true. That shift affects everything: your energy, confidence, and your ability to make empowered decisions in all areas of life. The taste of real maple syrup also teaches something profound about balance. It's sweet but not overwhelming, rich but not heavy. It satisfies your senses without overpowering them, reminding you that true pleasure lies in moderation and mindfulness. Artificial syrups blast your taste buds with excessive sweetness because they're designed to overstimulate. Real maple syrup does the opposite. It invites you to slow down, savor, and appreciate. It encourages you to reconnect with your senses, to taste with awareness rather than impulse. This difference may seem small, but it mirrors a much deeper truth about how we approach life. The more authentic your choice is, the more grounded and peaceful you become. Brands like Coombs Family Farms and Crown Maple show that it's still possible to create food with soul. Their commitment to craftsmanship and transparency represents a return to the wisdom of simplicity. You don't need artificial flavoring when the real thing already tastes divine. You don't need preservatives when nature's own purity is enough. These brands prove that quality and conscience can coexist, and that health and flavor don't have to be opposites. When you choose their syrup, you're not just enjoying a better breakfast, you're embracing a philosophy that values nature, honesty, and balance. In the end, choosing authentic syrup is about more than what's on your plate. It's about what kind of energy you want to bring into your life. Every time you pour real maple syrup instead of a processed imitation, you're practicing mindfulness, gratitude, and integrity. You're reminding yourself that life's sweetest things don't need to be manufactured, they just need to be appreciated. It's a simple decision, but its impact is powerful. You nourish your body, support ethical production, and reconnect with the natural rhythm of the world. That's the quiet beauty of authenticity. It gives more than it takes, and it leaves you feeling alive, aligned, and at peace with every drop. Small daily choices define the course of your health far more than grand gestures or occasional detoxes ever will. Every decision, every label you read or ignore, shapes the way your body feels, functions, and ages. Something as simple as the syrup you pour over your breakfast might not seem like it carries much weight, but it does. When you choose purity over processed convenience, you're not just changing your diet, you're rewriting your relationship with your body. Every ingredient you allow into your system communicates with your cells, your hormones, and your mind. When you give your body something artificial, it has to work harder to break it down, wasting energy that could be used for healing and growth. But when you give it something natural, it responds with gratitude, efficiency, and strength. The smallest choices build into habits, and habits build into your identity. You either feed your vitality or feed your fatigue. When you stop and look closely at the ingredients of what you consume, you begin to see how the modern food industry has quietly trained people to stop questioning. It sells you convenience wrapped in color, flavor, and nostalgia, while slowly eroding your health. Reading labels becomes an act of rebellion against that system, a way to reclaim your awareness. It's in those tiny moments, standing in front of a grocery shelf, true transformation begins. Choosing a product that honors your health over one that simply tastes good for a second means you're taking responsibility for the long game, not the instant pleasure. Over time, those responsible choices compound just like bad ones do. The difference is that the positive ones build energy, clarity, resilience, while the negative ones build exhaustion, inflammation, and imbalance. The body is a reflection of consistency. Doesn't respond to what you do once, it responds to what you do every day. The syrup you pick, the snacks you eat, the drinks you sip, they all leave an imprint. When you make a habit of choosing real unprocessed food, you slowly reset your body's chemistry. Your taste buds recover from overstimulation, blood sugar stabilizes, and your energy stops crashing in the middle of the day. This process doesn't happen overnight, but that's the beauty of it. It's sustainable. It's not about perfection but awareness. You don't have to give up sweetness. You just have to choose the kind that nourishes instead of harms. What makes this awareness so powerful is that it ripples outward into other parts of your life. Once you become conscious of what you eat, you naturally become conscious of how you think, how you rest, and how you live. You realize that self-mastery begins with small disciplines, simple, consistent acts of self-respect. When you decide that your health is worth reading labels for, you start making other decisions from that same place of respect. You might choose to drink more water, move more often, or sleep earlier, not because someone told you to, but because it aligns with the person you're becoming. These small choices are how people transform their lives without even realizing it. The truth is, health isn't a destination, it's a rhythm built on awareness and repetition. There's also a deeper emotional layer to this kind of decision-making. Many people reach for processed foods or artificial sweetness not out of ignorance but out of habit or emotional comfort. The act of choosing something pure and natural becomes symbolic. It's a form of healing. You're telling yourself that you no longer need fake pleasure or temporary fixes to feel good. You're choosing authenticity in your food because you're learning to value authenticity in yourself. That shift, though subtle, changes everything. You stop running on autopilot and start living with intention. Every morning becomes an opportunity to align your choices with your values. Every meal becomes a reminder that you are in control of what enters your body, and by extension, your life. The idea that small choices don't matter is one of the biggest lies in modern culture. Corporations depend on that belief to keep selling cheap, unhealthy products. But the truth is, everything matters. The way you begin your day, the ingredients you consume, the awareness you bring to what you buy, all of it adds up to either vitality or decay. When you consistently choose foods made with real ingredients, you're choosing long-term energy over short-term satisfaction. You're choosing mental clarity over brain fog. You're choosing strength over sluggishness. And most importantly, you're choosing yourself. The act of paying attention is powerful. It's the foundation of all growth. When you start paying attention to what's in your syrup, you begin paying attention to what's in your life. Your habits, your environment, your thoughts. You realize that the same principles apply everywhere. Purity, balance, and authenticity produce harmony. Artificiality, excess, and shortcuts produce chaos. The more aligned your small choices become, the more peace and power you begin to feel from within. You no longer see health as a set of restrictions, but as an ongoing dialogue with your body. In the end, it's the little things that build your foundation. You don't need radical diets or extreme transformations, you just need awareness and consistency. The small, seemingly insignificant decisions you make each day define who you are becoming. So, when you reach for a bottle of syrup or any other product, remember that your choice is a reflection of your awareness. It's a mirror of how much you value yourself. Purity isn't just about ingredients, it's a mindset, a commitment to authenticity in every sense. When you start living from that place, health stops being something you chase and becomes something you naturally embody.